Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And we are back with Lisa Braga. So excited to have her here from Zen and Now Wellness Studio. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I'm so good. How are you?
I'm great, sweetheart. Pleasure to have you back here. And it's at zenandnowct.com, standing for Connecticut. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from.
Sure. I'm in southeastern Connecticut, Niantic, Connecticut. I was pretty much raised here. I raised my family here, and we have a nice little community. And I created a wellness center, and we offer yoga and cycle and fitness classes, and all around just general wellness and a nice community of helping people,
And
trying to be their best.
And your background is extra special because you're also
a pharmacist as well. Yeah.
So she could really understand the whole Eastern and Western medicine thing together and bring the best to you, both worlds. And I know today, and we're going to talk a little bit about sleep, right? Because that is something that is so importantly underrated. And I think you could probably share, with your expertise, right? Why is it so important to get good rest and good sleep?
Yeah. Well, our culture really prides that go, 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 do, and it almost shames us if we take a break, right? Yeah. You get shamed from work if you take a day off, or if you're like, I'm just tired and I want to rest. And other cultures, they have siestas. They take a nap in the middle of the day. They still honor that need. And it is really important for us to rest. If you just go, 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 you're just going to burn out. If you just drove your car 100 miles an hour and never pause, it's going to overheat and the tires are going to blow out. And, you need to rest.
Yep. Absolutely. So could you tell us though a little bit like the makeup, more about the physiological and psychological benefits of sleep, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So our brain waves we have different components of our nervous system, and our autonomic nervous system is our automatic. Like you can breathe your whole life and never focus on your breath, and you're going to live, right? So the autonomic nervous system is divided into two parts: the fight or flight, and then the rest and digest, which is the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems. And about 70% of the time, most of us are in that fight or flight. That's a lot. Instead of being in harmony and having it be, well, we'll probably never be 50-50, but we're really, really good at that stress fight or flight system, and not so good at letting ourselves go back into that parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest. And that's where our body heals. That's where our body grows. Like if you're lifting weights and trying to build muscle, you're not building that muscle while you're lifting that weight. You're building that muscle while the muscle's resting. That's when it gets to repair itself and grow. And the same with our brain. If we don't give ourselves time to relax a little bit, and that's how we'll retain things, we'll be more alert, we'll learn better. In fact, most of the time in that fight or flight system, our brain's in these really high wave patterns and very often very chaotic. Learning to get into those deeper waves is something we actually have to practice, because most of us have lost the ability in this culture to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let me just ask you, because about like medication and hormones and things, but what does sleep give us? Is it like what, not serotonin, what is happening to us when we sleep? What is our body doing specifically?
Yeah, it's funny because we really don't know exactly what's going on. We do know that our body's recovering, it's resting. The mind still wanders around, and it can be very cool. I don't know if you dream, but I have very, very lucid dreams. And I wake up almost every morning and be like, oh my God, I had the weirdest dream. And my whole family cracks up. They're like, that's every day.
You say that every day. Yeah.
But so with before we had artificial lighting, before we had interior like light bulbs and stuff, our body went to sleep. When the sun went down, the signals to our eyes triggered the melatonin in our brain, the receptors in our brain, to start to secrete melatonin, which causes us to be sleepy, and it creates that cycle that allows us to go into that deep rest. And then when the light comes on in the morning, our body senses that, and those, that same gland starts to secrete serotonin, which many people know about because it's so prevalent. We have depression, and mood is such an issue in our culture. And the imbalance of serotonin and melatonin, where because we do have artificial lights, we have our screens, and I know most people go to bed with their telephone, like they're texting or they're playing games or whatever. They've got that artificial light. And so we don't have the natural cycle that our bodies are meant to have to put us into a balanced sleep and wake cycle.
Now, what about you mentioned we could actually rewire our brain? Could you share that concept to
Yeah.
me a little bit?
Yeah, neuroplasticity. I just love that word.
Yes. The word
Neuroplasticity.
that I
Let's think
can't
of it.
pronounce. Is it neuroplasticity? Okay, got it.
Yeah, yeah. In science words are funny because they seem so long, but they're little words that are just kind of glued together.
Hmm.
Yeah, so we're able to like something that's plastic and moldable that you can rebuild, you can strengthen the circuits in your brain or weaken them depending on
Yeah.
what you're doing. I've said this several times in our other interviews is how we wake up, how we put our mind to bed and how we wake our mind up is really, really important. Not being on a screen for a good hour before bed is really good for us. And I know that's something people don't want to hear. Reading before bed and meditating, breathing, stretching, not big, vigorous exercise,
Yeah.
but some gentle, longer stretches. That'll also prevent you from getting leg cramps in your sleep or restless leg
Mm.
syndrome. Sometimes that can help with, so just how we take care of ourselves. And we don't always do that. We talk about that a lot, how we take care of everybody else and, get the kids to bed and you get all your errands done, you get yourself ready for tomorrow. And then you just jump into bed and you think you're going to go right to sleep, or you
Nope.
get into bed and you're still working on your, in bed. So in bed, being in your bed for just good sleep hygiene, really just keeping your bed for sleep and sex. And that's really what is recommended that we use our bedroom for. So even if you're awake in the middle of the night, instead of getting on your phone or doing anything
Yeah.
like that, get up and leave the room or go to a different place in your room and do what you're going to do. And then when you get sleepy again, go back and try going back to sleep.
And we don't even know the effects of our cell phones yet on us, do we? Like,
No.
right? 20 years now, we're talking about like the fact we're on the phones and the screen and now they're making
Yeah.
special glasses so there's something with the
Yeah.
blue light in the phone that's affecting people too, right?
Yeah, so the blue light can be very helpful to keep that. And again, that receptor comes through the eyes, whether the wake and sleep, whether your body's making melatonin or serotonin, is actually stimulated through the eyes because the sun comes and then it stimulates your eyes, tells your the glands in your brain to make different hormones. And
Got
so
it.
that's how that works. And then the electromagnetic waves of our phone. A lot of people, like I use my phone as my alarm, so it is near
Hmm.
me. But I do have a pink salt lamp that's supposed to diffuse the electromagnetic waves. But
Hmm.
then I have light again, so now there's
So
more
it's
light
like,
in
yeah.
my room. And I do sometimes wear an eye mask so that it blocks the light. Using light blocking curtains can be really helpful. Some people will even duct tape their curtain shut. But you want it to be a comfortable place, safe place for you to sleep. Um, and now they're recommending sleeping like different sleep studies. There's been a lot of sleep studies done in the last 10 years that 7 to 9 hours of sleep is what's recommended. Do you sleep 7 to 9 hours? I don't.
And on top of it all, I'm also up every like 2, 3 hours. That's
Yeah.
not good. I'm not doing that full sleep, the REM, whatever you call it, but restless sleeper. So am I really even, if I did have that 9 hours to spare in the bed, would I ever sleep straight through? No.
Yeah.
And
And you probably won't because we do sleep cycles, which is really interesting. And this is why it's really important
oh,
not to
tell me,
hit
tell
the
me.
snooze button.
Okay.
So when you
Oh, guilty,
I know.
guilty.
I know. So when we go to sleep, we fall asleep, we start to go into the sleep pattern. And this one sleep cycle, it ranges, and I've heard different reports, but somewhere between like 90 and 110 minutes.
Okay.
And usually we do about 3 of those full cycles. So in between those cycles, you might wake up. And the only problem is if you can't fall back to sleep. So you might wake up a little and then fall right back to sleep. And that's
Uh-huh.
probably okay. But if you're waking up and then you're up for hours, and that's, where you get that sleep deprivation. But then as we start to get closer towards the waking hours, we go out of that last sleep cycle and we slowly start to gradually wake up. If you hit your snooze button, then you start that cycle all over again. And if you're not going to get an hour, 90 minutes or so, then you're going to wake up in the middle of your sleep cycle and you're going to be groggy. And that's when you feel really like just off and tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
Do you
most
ever wake
days.
up before your alarm just naturally and you just feel more awake? But
I
then you wake up when your
it
alarm goes
it's
off in the middle of the
happened
cycle and you're like, oh,
that's happened before and I feel so good. And
yeah,
it doesn't happen often enough though, I'll be
I
honest.
know. I know.
So what are some of the things we could also do? I know you mentioned maybe breathing exercises or meditation
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
talk about too.
I do, absolutely. I do want to share one more thing though about the alarm
Sure.
clock.
Sure, sure,
So
sure.
many of us wake up to the alarm clock and it's jarring. Like my son has this one alarm that I can hear it all the way upstairs. He's in the downstairs bedroom and I jump and it's like, it's almost like a PTSD response. It's like this jarring movement,
Yeah.
jolting you out of bed. I have found a really beautiful yoga song that I like to play that I use as my alarm, and it starts really slow and slowly gradually builds. So I'm not jarred awake, I'm more kind of guided awake. And then I bought my son, it actually is a light that slowly, like the sun would, it slowly gets brighter and brighter and brighter. And then
Okay.
it naturally wakes you up without any noise at all. So maybe if that, if you're waking up and you're really feeling depleted or you're feeling jarred awake because you're woken up in the middle of a sleep cycle, maybe trying a different alarm could be really helpful.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's kind of an easy fix, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we deep breathe, we help to slow down our nervous system. We get to come into that cooler, calmer response and pulls us out of that fight or flight response into that rest and digest, the parasympathetic response. I love we're talking about this today, and I know this will re-air, but right now, today, we're coming into the fall equinox, equal day and night.
Mm,
And, so it's kind of an interesting thing. We'll be doing a guided meditation. I'll be doing one tomorrow night in my yoga class, and it's called a yoga nidra. And I do yoga nidra every Wednesday night. And what yoga nidra is, it technically translates from Sanskrit to English as yogic sleep. So it's a guided meditation, and you don't have to do anything. You just lie there. You can make yourself as cozy as possible. And I guide a meditation. We focus on some breathing. We set an intention in more traditional yoga, and you could just do a guided meditation and not call it a yoga nidra, but in a more traditional yogic setting, we set an intention called the sankalpa, and that's two Sanskrit words fused together that literally means a vow to your heart. So you kind of go inward and you listen to what your heart wants more of. And if you want more calm, more peace, or whatever, you can create an intention or a mantra around that. And using the positive present tense is really super helpful. That's going to draw it in more and it's going to manifest a little quicker. So we're using some meditation as well, focusing on the breathing. Then we do a body scan the body and let the body progressively relax. And then most people nod off to sleep, which is fine. It still works. But yoga nidra is really geared at letting the body relax as if it's in a sleep
mm-hmm.
state, but letting the brain be awake and alert, but calm. And what's so beautiful about that, when you practice that regularly, and I love this too, because there's so many, like Stanford University is really big about studying this, and there's all different research facilities all around the world studying the benefits of meditation, breath work, and yoga nidra. They're showing reduced heart rate, reduced blood pressure, reduced stress levels, but also reductions in diabetes. And like other chronic conditions, of course, hypertension would fall into that too,
Yeah.
but actually reversing disease because we're getting our body out of that stress
Oh, wow.
response into that more calm response. We're not in this like hyper alert, which creates more inflammation throughout the body and all kinds of other angst, right? But it gives us a little more balance in the brain. It also helps us to bring our brain into those slower brain waves so we can rest and respond instead of react. When someone
Yep.
pushes your buttons or some little thing might trigger you, when you're in a more calm state, you'd be like, oh, that's not really a big deal. But when you're tired, when you're exhausted, when you're just overwhelmed, you might react a little differently and you might regret it.
True.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm an overreactor when it comes to like everything, which is probably not the best place, not the best state of mind to always be in, but I am. I'm one of those nervous Nancy's all the time. I can use some breathing, some meditation, some relaxation for sure.
Excellent. Yeah. So I have a YouTube channel, which I forget to mention every time you ask me
Like,
about
you
my
do?
social
I'm like, I don't
media.
remember that.
I
Okay, tell me, tell me,
know.
tell me.
I always forget about it. So I do have a YouTube channel and I do have some breathing exercises on there, but we can talk about a couple different breathing exercises and maybe practice a few of
Would
them.
love to. Thank you so much.
All right, good. So deep belly breathing is really important when we breathe to our collarbones. And when I was working full time as a pharmacist years ago, before I discovered yoga, I probably only breathed to my collarbones. And it actually makes you more anxious. When you breathe just your collarbones, it creates that sympathetic response, that fight or flight. You just kind of feel like, oh my gosh. If you just breathe to your diaphragm, the muscle that is where your ribs end, that helps your breathing.
Mm-hmm.
When you breathe just your diaphragm, it's just a neutral response. If you breathe deep into your belly, which most of us don't do, especially because we're always holding our belly in because we want to look skinny, right?
Always sucking in. I'm a
We're always
sucker
sucking our
inner.
belly.
And then I just let it. I was sucking in too, and I'm not even like on like no one's. And now I let it out. I'm like.
So whenever I teach belly breathing in the studio, I'll teach it either lying down or if we are seated, I tell everybody to close their eyes. And I say, everybody's eyes are closed. Nobody can see your belly. Let your belly expand and let it contract. Let it expand. And everybody fights it. I did too. I know. But when we belly breathe, it actually puts us into that parasympathetic, that rest, digest, calm, and connect nervous system, which allows the body to heal. It lets everything just like chill, just calm. So belly breathing is one really big thing. It took me, my chiropractor taught me how to belly breathe, and I thought I was belly breathing. And she's like, oh no, honey, you're just going like up here. I'm still up here. So it takes some practice, and you really just have to be patient with yourself and give yourself lots of grace. I recommend learning it lying down because it's just easier. When you're lying down, you don't have to engage your belly to hold yourself up. If you are seated, sometimes leaning back can help so you have more space.
Okay.
I had a woman come into the pharmacy years ago, and her blood pressure was really high that morning at her doctor's visit, and he asked her to have me check it. So she came in and I had to go do something else for her. That was going to take me a few minutes. So I just taught her to belly breathe. I had her lean back. I said, I'll be back in a few minutes. And I put her in like a little private room and I had her belly breathe. I don't think it was 5 minutes. And she came back. I took her blood pressure again and had gone down 10 points.
Wow.
Just that quickly. Yeah. And her doctor wanted to increase her blood pressure medicine and she really didn't want to. So, she came back a month later to fill her prescription again. And she's like, Lisa, I belly breathe every single day and I have not had to go up on my blood pressure medicine. It's been perfect every day. And I was like, that's a win, just belly breathing. And it's free, right?
Wow.
I know.
It
I
is.
know.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So belly breathing is a really, really great way. And it takes 2 or 3 breaths. One way I like to do it, if I, like say when you go to the doctor's office, they put that, the O2 sat thing on you.
Pulse
oximeter.
Sax. Okay. That's it. Yep.
Yeah. So if you have that on, it's a little game I play with myself. I take a huge, big belly breath and I watch my heart rate go down and I watch the oxygen numbers go up. It just take literally 2 or 3 belly breaths.
Amazing.
It's amazing. It's that quick. We can change our state in a second. So if we're in a really stressed out state, take a big breath. If you sigh out loud, it signals not only your body feels your breathing, but your brain hears your breathing. And everybody thinks something's wrong when you sigh. They're like, what's wrong? But when you sigh big like that, your brain's like, oh, things are okay. It's a sense of relief. Yeah.
Wow.
It's really cool. So then kind of controlling the pattern of your breath, especially those deeper, slow breaths, can also help bring you into that relaxed state. There's a few breaths that I really like to practice. One's called the 4 square breath.
Okay.
So inhale for 4, and then you hold the breath for 4, and then you exhale for 4, and then you hold the breath for 4. And I use my heartbeat as my counter, like a little metronome. If that's too fast or slow for you, just do 2. You can do 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay. Holding the breath in between. People kind of think, well, that doesn't make any sense. Carbon dioxide is not good for us. Actually, the carbon dioxide is what creates that relaxation response in the brain. And when you're hyperventilating, they tell you to breathe into a paper bag and you're breathing in your carbon dioxide. It's not at a toxic level, but it's at a level that calms the body and the brain. Yeah. So the 4 square breath, you breathe in for 4, you hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold for 4. And we can practice these. I just want to share a couple more, just explain them in case we don't have time to do them all. The relaxation breath is a really great breath to do while you're stretching your body as well. So if you're holding a long stretch, maybe you're in a lunge or in pigeon pose in yoga, or just something where you're feeling a nice deep stretch in your body. If we bounce into a stretch, the brain senses that the body's in danger, and it actually tells those tissues to tighten up and you contract more. If you relax into your breath, the brain tells those muscles, tissues, connective tissues that everything's good and allows things to relax even more.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is really interesting. Most of our tightness in our body, a big part of it is our nervous system. You know, when you go for surgery, when you're under general anesthesia, that doctor, that surgeon can move your body in any direction, you know, pull you all over the place because that relaxation response is turned off. And so the relaxation breath, when you're doing a longer hold, is you inhale for like 4, and then you exhale for 8. So you're exhaling twice as long. It's a 1-to-2 ratio breath.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And it really does work. And again, if you sigh out loud, like inhale through your nose, because it's really important to strengthen the nasal tissues and the musculature in the nose and the throat. So inhaling through the nose is really important to help that. But you can exhale through the mouth or the side. And then another exercise is alternate nostril breathing. So you close your nostril.
Done this. Yeah.
And then you exhale through the other one. And then you inhale and you exhale through the other one. And so the left side of our body is our lunar, cooler, more feminine side. You know, whether you're male or female, you have masculine and feminine energy. And the right side of our body is the solar energy. And so the nostrils will close up. About every 90 minutes, they switch. So you'll be dominant on one side. So if you like, we're hold one nostril right now, try to breathe. And the other one's going to be a little stuffier than the other.
Okay. Yeah.
Alternate nostril breathing helps us to balance out the two sides. If you wake up in the middle of the night, notice which nostril's stuffed. And like I wake up in the middle of the night and my right side's open and my left side's closed. That's because that's my fiery energy.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll close that and then I'll literally lie on my side and close my nostril and just try to open up the left side, and then I'll fall back asleep. But this alternate nostril breathing is really good to balance the energies in your body and get the, you know, the solar, the lunar, the masculine, the feminine, a little more closer towards being in harmony. So do you want to practice any one of those in particular, or you want to just do a couple?
You tell me. Yeah, go. We have 6 minutes. Go ahead. We can try
let's
some.
do it.
Go.
All right. So I recommend closing your eyes again, because nobody wants to see your belly. Like you don't want to see your own belly come out. So I tell people, just close your eyes and let your belly expand.
Okay.
If you place your hands on your belly, you can actually feel that. So let's do the square breath. So you're going to inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4. Oh, sorry. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale last time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. And then just breathe naturally. Give yourself a few moments to just see how that feels. And then you can open your eyes again. So that was just 4 rounds. That's about a minute, maybe.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. There's a great book out called, I think it's called Breath. And in it, they do a lot of studying about our breathing. And they're finding that if we slow our breath down, and it's about 5.5 minutes is what they found to be the most relaxing, 5.5 breaths per minute. And so that's kind of interesting, because when we're exercising, we're going to be breathing a lot faster than that.
Of course.
Yeah. But slowing your breath down, calming your breath down will actually do a lot to help soothe the nervous system. So that 4 square breath is wonderful. The relaxation breath, like when you're in a yoga pose or a stretch, take a big breath in and hold it for a second. and then sigh it out and try to exhale twice as long and just watch how your body kind of melts and relaxes. Yeah, it's really wonderful. And then that alternate nostril breathing, I have a video on YouTube. That's a little more confusing. People get confused about that. So what you do is you hold your thumb on your right nostril and your ring finger on your left nostril. The peace fingers can either go like to the center of your forehead. There's a nice acupressure point there that creates relaxation. Sometimes I tuck my fingers in or rest it on the bridge of my nose. Your pinky fingers just kind of hang out. So you're going to inhale and then close your nostril and exhale through the left. And inhale through the left. And then close your left nostril and let go of the right and exhale through the right. And inhale through the right. Close it off and exhale through the left. And inhale through the left. Close it off and exhale through the right. And inhale through the right. And close, let go of the left, exhale. Inhale through the left. Close it, exhale through the right. And one more time, inhale through the right. And exhale through the left. And then you can
I'm confused a few times. I'm like, wait.
I know, it gets really confusing. Don't overthink it. Just closing and trying to inhale through one side. I always tell people switch on the exhale. Inhale, close it, switch on the exhale. And if you're stuffy, if you're so stuffy you can't breathe, you don't have to close it all the way. And you want to close it kind of on the lower side, so you're really not squishing the other side shut too. But again, I've got that on a video that's a little more easy to follow, because I know we're running out of time, but I just want to make sure we got a little intro on that. But yeah, any kind of breathing exercises that breathe deeper, calm the body. Anything we can do to just kind of chill out, and respond instead of react can be very helpful.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I feel good. I feel good. What else did you want to add? We still got 2 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. So every Wednesday night I have a slow flow class with a guided meditation, a yoga nidra, and you can come on Zoom and watch that class. We have, again, YouTube. I don't know why I forgot to tell you I have a YouTube channel. There's not a lot on there, but there is some on there. So
and there's a link on your website to it as well, which is, by the way, tell us now one as well. What is the website?
Yeah, zenandnowct.com. And our phone number is 860-739-2625. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and on YouTube.
Yay. And under YouTube, how do we find you again?
It's Zen and Now.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
All right. And to close things up for today, how did you want to leave off?
I just wanted to say, take some time for yourself. Take a big breath. Be conscious about how you go to bed. It doesn't have to be a huge, big nightly habit, but take some time for you before you go to bed.
All right.
Don't take the thousands of other people that are on Facebook with you into your bedroom. Shut that off. Let that go.
All right. Thank you. Let's breathe better, meditate, and get some sleep. Have a great day. Great to see you.
You too. Thanks so much.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.